Oh my goodness, I am so excited to be with my guest today. Today I have got Jamie Berman, and she is, oh my gosh, we have got such a long standing relationship. Firstly, as my certification coach, and then as my money mindset coach, and then as my manifestation coach. So Jamie Berman, Jamie Bermoney, we would call her. Thank you so much for being here and on the She Did What podcast. So tell me, my friend, we're going to be talking about all things alcohol-free, the journey, your journey, and anything you think is inspiring or motivating for other women that might be sitting on the fence or thinking about, is this possible for me and should I do it? So dive in anywhere you want to, Jamie.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for having me. It's so fun to talk about this topic because I do feel passionate about it. And I know we've kind of gone back and forth. And when you started diving into this work, I was so inspired because it really makes such a massive difference in people's lives. And it's not always the easiest. Sometimes it's the hardest thing you'll ever do. So having support can be just so incredibly helpful. And I know you're a genius, Lori, so I love it. But I'll share a little bit about, how I became alcohol free, I guess. It goes back really to childhood, as most things do. I actually grew up with alcoholism. So my stepdad was an alcoholic growing up. I saw how much suffering that caused my mom, my family, what a struggle it was for him, how awful it was for him in so many ways. Unfortunately, you would think growing up with that I would say, okay, I'm never going to do that. But I turned about 15, 16, and I found alcohol myself. In fact, it was always around because I had parents that drank. So it was very easy to get. I just had to walk upstairs, grab it. So my parents were really free spirits, and they would go away for weekends and leave all of us kids at home. I was the oldest of 5. Starting when I was about 16, they're like, Jamie, you take care of everyone. So I was like, okay, if I'm taking care of everyone, I'm having a party too. And we would have parties, started drinking pretty young, partied it up, had so much fun. What I found at that time was that I'm a pretty introverted person and I was kind of shy growing up. So it took me out of my shell and I was like, holy cow, I don't have any anxiety around people. I get to be free. I'm actually the fun one. I'm the outgoing one. I've never been this person. Like people laugh at me. People love it. Right. And so it totally took me out of my shell. And that's what I liked about it. So I continued being the party girl, the party house. Me and my sister got into it, and all of our friends, that's what we did. We partied on weekends all through high school, then got into college, and it was even more so because it wasn't just weekends during college. Then it got to be like pretty much every night, right? And learning how to manage being hungover and,
do assignments and talk to teachers.
Like, Thirsty Thursday and $2 shots on Wednesday. And, every night was something. So I definitely had my fair share of drinking, and it was actually so funny because it was on my 21st birthday. Me and all of my college friends did this thing. I shouldn't say it's funny. It's it's dangerous and sad. But what we did was we made each other a shot book. So each person whose birthday was last would make the next person's shot book. And it was 21, right, for our 21st birthday, 21 pages with different themes on each of them. And the idea was you take 24 shots in 24 hours. And so I had this shot book and, we'd go to bars and whoever took the shot with you, you'd sign that page and you take a picture. I mean, ridiculous. But of course, after 21 shots in 21 or 24 hours, that full day of my birthday, I was in a wheelchair at the end of the night in a hotel. It was awful, right? Awful, awful, awful. And I remember waking up the next day and just thinking, whoa, this has gotten pretty bad. It gotten to the point where I wasn't having fun anymore. I was just blacking out. I would remember the first part of the night, not the second part of the night recurring. And I'm like, I'm 21 now. And what's funny is that that's when most people start drinking. But for me, that's when I was like, I've been drinking for a lot of years. And if I actually want to make something of my life, if I want to get out of here, because I didn't want to live where I was living, where I grew up, like I felt called to move to a bigger city, to do something big. And I've always been a dreamer, so I wanted to create something amazing for my life. And I just realized, like, it's not going to happen if I keep this up. So it was my 21st birthday that I decided to question drinking so much. That wasn't when I quit, but I just realized I had to make a change, and I couldn't do all these shots and be this party girl anymore. And that's when things started to shift. But then it was more of like, I'll just start drinking wine, or I'll have a cocktail instead of just loading up with crazy amounts of alcohol. And then it was through my 20s after I moved out to Los Angeles. I went back to school to become a makeup artist. This was after I graduated college. And I remember, so I was kind of going through what I called a quarter life crisis, because I moved out to LA. I kind of succeeded at my dream at the time, and I became a makeup artist. I was doing makeup for celebrities, music videos, all the things. And I was just like, I'm not happy with this. And so I went back to, this was how kind of the spirituality opened up in my world with manifestation, because I decided to go back to school at that time, around 25, 26, 27, something around that. And I went for spiritual psychology. And I remember learning there, like they said, okay, these weekends, essentially what the school was kind of like doing a deep inner work retreat / therapy / spirituality for one full weekend a month for a full year. It was like the 1 year of the program. So I was doing a retreat every weekend, like a deep, deep, deep dive back into my path. It was like therapeutic, but they would always say, do not drink afterwards. Like, we really recommend you don't drink, right? Because it's going to bring you right back down. It's going to bring you back to your old patterns. They said, not that you can't drink in general, but wait at least a week after these retreats. Give it time to assimilate, because it's going to bring you below thought. And I remember hearing it's going to bring you below thought. And I'm like, okay, even a glass of wine, I notice it brings me below thought. It like lowers my consciousness. When I'm meditating, when I'm doing this inner work, I feel free. I feel amazing. But when I drink, it takes me down. Like I just started getting a lot more sensitive. I could feel my energy. I could feel my body and my vibration. And when I drank even a glass of wine, I would feel like it took me down. And then, of course, as you start getting older, at least for me, my body's always been pretty sensitive to different foods and things. And so I would just notice I didn't feel good. My hangovers would be worse. And so I just thought, why am I doing this? Like, it's not good for my health. I had PCOS at the time and like had hormone disruption. I'm like, I know it's horrible for that. I wanted to lose weight. It wasn't good for that. So I'm like, why exactly am I even doing this? What if I just quit? And I gave it up, and I just decided I'm not doing it. And
it's incredible, isn't it? How it feels like you toy around with it, like you're in this mental kind of tug of war with it, and then it's like one day it just clicks, and it's almost like this big light bulb of ding. Oh, I'm not doing this anymore. I think it's fascinating how we can shift so quickly when we really want to, when we have this bigger why, how quickly we can shift into, oh, I'm just not doing that. Like, no, thank you. Fascinating.
It's just a decision. Yeah, it's just a decision. And not that like the journey of then quitting is always the easiest. At least I found it was still, there were challenges. There were certain times when I wanted to drink. There were certain things where I'm like, how do I do this without drinking? Like certain, going to a wedding and dancing. I'm like, you mean I have to dance sober? I don't know what that's like. I don't know if I've ever done that in my life. Right. So like, it was totally just like a commitment, and the good news is at that point I had also found, luckily I had gone through spiritual psychology, and then I found coaching. So I understood the power of like mindset. I also had understood that like feeling uncomfortable emotions isn't a bad thing. There's ways to deal with that. And that sometimes we choose discomfort on purpose for our growth, right? So at that point, I kind of understood some of those things, not to say that it was all easy breezy, but I just decided I'm choosing the discomfort of like not drinking. And what comes up also around my friends, that they liked me. They liked drunk Jamie. Like, she was a good time, and they didn't know, do I like sober Jamie, you know? And it brought up a lot. So it was definitely a journey, but it's one that I mean, for me has been life-changing. I'm so grateful I chose that. It's just so much easier.
100% it is, 1,000% it is so much easier, just without having to think and plan your whole life around, what am I drinking this weekend, who's going to be there, oh, I wonder what I said last time, like I can't remember, oh God, I hope they don't bring that story up, you know, all of the things. There's no more having to think about that. It's
100%.
incredible.
And then you just feel better. Like, I can wake up every day and not be hungover is one of the best feelings, to actually have energy and want to go work out or move my body most days, you know, and not have to have that struggle of like, oh, I drank last night. It's just, everything became easier. Everything.
I know for me, Dave was still drinking, so my husband was still drinking when I decided, because we were like two besties that just drank. We knew we met each other drinking, we were drinkers together. I'm curious, did you have an environment where you had non-drinkers in your environment, or was everyone else still drinking around you as well?
Well, my whole family was still drinking. My husband, he's always been a moderation drinker. Like, I always say, you've never been drunk in your life. He thinks he has, but I'm like, that was tipsy, Josh. That was tipsy. Like, you might say drunk.
It.
But, you know, he just grew up with very health conscious parents. His parents were kind of the type that like, were like, you can do it if you want to. And like, here's the way to do it if you're going to, and kind of gave him that full permission. So he didn't have to rebel. And he just would drink, you know, half a glass of wine and be good. He would never barely drink more than one. So that's my husband. So I will say that having that relationship certainly made it easier, because we didn't have, that wasn't our social life, you know? But all the other relationships in my life were challenging, because almost all of my friends, like, that was what we did. And especially my older friends that I grew up with, and we would party and all that stuff, it was almost like, well, who are you without that? So there were certain people that would pressure me to drink. And I just had to hold my ground, you know, and just be uncomfortable in it. And, you know, I knew where it was coming from. I'm like, who wants to be drinking by themselves? So of course they want me to drink and they want to have a good time with me. But, you know, this is my decision. It's just not good for my body. But yeah, family members still drink. Most people around me, I mean, now I feel like people are slowly starting to cut back or quit, but most people besides my husband do drink still.
That's incredible, isn't it? When you actually look around and you realize how many people drink around you. And I think, it was 99% of, at that point, I don't even think I knew anyone that was 100% alcohol free. There was some that, a bit like Josh, you know, had one or two, or just had one cocktail at a dinner party and would be okay. But for the most of it, it was my whole friend group. And I think that's a really scary thing when you are the one on the outside. And I remember at school, I always struggled with friend groups and trying to fit in. I never felt like I belonged. And so I used alcohol as the way to belong in, you know, in friendships. Like going to 10-cent drinks on a Wednesday night was the best fun, and we did it as a group, and the next morning we'd all be hungover together, and then the whole day. And to be on the outside as an adult, didn't, like, in my brain, I couldn't reconcile what is going on? Why am I so afraid of being the one that doesn't drink? And it was, when I really had to peel it back, it was because I was still trying to fit in and still trying to belong all these years. And I'm, you know, 45 years old, still trying to fit in and still trying to belong, and using alcohol as a way to do that.
Totally. I completely get that. I mean, same here, right? And I think, you know, it was luckily a little easier for me having Josh, because I at least had that partnership that was like a little easier to at least get started with. But I've had to learn how to be around people drinking. Not that I've never been the type of drinker that like craves alcohol, has urges for it. Like that's just not how I'm made up. Food wise, yes. Like give me sugar, like that kind of thing. Yes. If people have sugar on me and I can't, I have a problem. Like, right. But alcohol, I haven't, like, I'm so grateful. I just don't have urges like that. It was more of like what it gave me, which was that feeling of feeling free and, you know, social and all of that. So I think, you know, just not having to deal with like major urges was also made it a lot easier for me to be totally transparent.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same. I call it my big three. I was a smoker and a drinker. And then, of course, you know, whenever I wasn't sure whether I was drinking to smoke or smoking to drink. So
Right.
they were really closely intertwined together. And it's so interesting because I had actually no issues giving up smoking. It was like it was
Really?
just gone.
Wow.
But the alcohol, I just had so much attachment to the alcohol
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, makes so much sense, which is
Yeah,
natural and I think
yeah,
obviously normal. And you know that in the work that you do with
yeah.
people. I mean, it's addicting.
Yeah, and then I did that, and then I did, you know, I'd be hungover, and then all the greasy food and all the food in the world, and then
Yep,
just over consuming all the time. So,
totally.
I call that like my big three. They were,
Yep,
oh, not saying that I don't struggle with urges with food as well, because that's
yep,
definitely. I think the universe always just sends us this one thing, right? Like, oh, you just keep
definitely.
working there.
We all got something, all of us. It's for our
Oh,
growth.
it's like I'm trying to aim for perfection, but there's no such thing. Like,
Nope. It's a
no.
balancing act.
I know. Oh my goodness, it's so funny. Um, I am really curious, Jamie, and I think you've actually spoken about this on a podcast before, but I just want to talk about the spirituality piece and frequency, because I know when it comes to manifesting, it is all about frequency. So I'm curious to tell me your thoughts on alcohol and frequency and manifestation, how that works, what that looks like.
Totally. Well, I think the way that my teachers had described it, and I know Eckhart Tolle, a wonderful spiritual teacher and author, has also talked about this, is just that alcohol does lower your vibration. And, you know, probably if I was 16 years old, I would have said, no, it higher it. I feel better when I'm drinking. I feel freer. I feel more social. But overall, it's like, how do you feel the next day? How do you feel having that in your life? It typically brings you down. Anyone who says they're burnt out, depressed, going through something with cortisol, having some kind of health issue, having chronic pain, what's the very first thing they tell you to do?
Quit
Eliminate
drinking.
alcohol, right? Eliminate alcohol or lower alcohol because it helps with absolutely everything in your body. It helps with your health. And so it's just such a foundational piece of wellness to actually not have that in your body. And I know for me now, being more in tune with my body, being more sensitive, I can actually feel it. That's why I don't like the way alcohol feels in my body anymore, which is so strange. I used to love the feeling of it, but now after having cut it out for so many years, if I have not like one sip, but if I have a glass of wine or a half glass of wine, even like I can feel it doing something in my body that I don't like. Like I can actually feel it. And the way that I describe that is it really is, it's just lowering the vibration. And, so in terms of manifesting, it really is true. If you think about it in your life, when you are in a positive state, when you are feeling like things are flowing, things are free, you're open, what happens? You tend to attract more into your life. You tend to attract synchronicities. Oh my gosh, I ran into this. Oh my gosh, I was just thinking of you and then I ran into you. Like, it's like goodness is attracted to that state. And when you're drinking, it affects that. It does, you know? And I know for me, like, even if I were to drink, I feel more negative. I feel worse the next day. I don't want to get up. It is going to absolutely affect my energy. It's going to affect even showing up, right? If you also think about manifestation, it's not just energy in terms of like your thoughts or like your feelings, but it's also the actions that you take, right? It's like, what kind of actions are you taking? Are they attracting the things into your life? And when you drink consistently, it affects your actions, right? It affects how you show up. You're usually down more. You're not thinking at the highest level. You don't have the highest energy. So overall, holistically, if you let go of alcohol, reduce alcohol, you will see your life improve in every way. There will be such a massive ripple effect beyond just what you would naturally think would happen, like maybe your health would improve or you just feel better. But I've personally found every area of my life has improved since. And it's been the same with getting in alignment with a healthier lifestyle, a healthier diet, doing things that are more joyful in my life. Like all of these things matter.
I think about the times when I worked in corporate and, the night before we'd go to conference, everyone would be drinking. It was huge. We'd have this massive night. We'd get home at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then, you'd go to breakfast, you meet for breakfast at 7, and then you'd go to be in the conference by 9, and you'd be in there all day struggling and just dying.
Yeah.
And get absolutely nothing out of that conference. And then the second day you feel better. Still a bit dusty from the day before, but you feel 1,000 times better compared to what you did the day before. And now I think about when I go to conferences or networking events, I can squeeze every single thing out of those events, and I just feel so good. My energy is more on point. I feel so much clearer. I have this ability to. It feels more creative.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and so when I think about these two events, that's where my brain goes to, oh, no way, I could just never ever do that again because it feels so wrong, it feels so off. Over here, I am creating all these things, I am taking inspired action, I am doing, and very much a doing person, right? A doing person, and it feels so good. And I think about traveling. And, when we're on top of this mountain and I feel this elation, this emotion of complete, like, oh my God, look at where I am. And I have to thank myself and go, oh my gosh, we would not be here, Laurie, if we were still sitting at home, sitting around the fire pit, drinking, being hungover. There is no way in hell that I would be here right now. And I just have to keep taking my back to all of those moments where my body is remembering what pleasure actually feels like from new sources.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like you actually get what you were hoping alcohol would give you, right? We would drink because we thought it was pleasurable. We thought it would give us a better experience, but really you're like not able to really, I don't know, be in it. You're not really able to be present in that experience when you're drinking or drinking heavily. But like you said, when it's not there, you can actually be present and be in awe and actually feel that freedom that you were longing for from the alcohol, but getting it naturally. It's unbelievable.
It's fascinating because we've been doing these Sunday swim, sauna and breathwork resets, and it was just supposed to be something for fun because I thought, you know what, this could be fun. There's a new sauna in town. Let's try something new. Text a few friends. Next thing you know, we've got this full sauna, and then it grew into 2 groups, and so we've just finished.
Gosh, I wish I could go.
Oh, no, it's so good. They've just finished because it's just about to hit winter time here, so we thought we'll just give it a break for winter. But the first few weeks it was a challenge getting out of bed, getting out early, going into the ocean. Don't exactly love the ocean, but have come to love it. And the day, I think there was once when we didn't do it because of weather, missed it. And actually was like, said to my husband, can we go like in a couple of days and we'll just do it ourselves. My body is just so much more connected to what it needs and what it feels. I don't think I've ever really taken notice, and this is the work you do as a coach, is learning to be in discomfort, learning to be bored, and learning to be uncomfortable, learning to be frustrated without having alcohol or overwhelmed or whatever it is. You can actually feel. So when you were explaining, you can feel alcohol coming through you. I could feel that as well. It was almost like this blanket, like this trickling of sensation that would just come through your body, and all of a sudden you'd get this tingling vibration.
Yes.
And that's what I missed.
Yeah.
But but I could get it from so many other things. I just had to go looking for those other things.
And they're so much healthier for you.
No,
And
right?
the effect of those things is positive, right? After you do a cold plunge, oh my gosh, you get all the energy in the world. You feel clean, clear, amazing. You're connected to your intuition. You get creative. After drinking, it's the opposite. So you just, yeah, it's amazing that it's like you could still access that feeling, but there's so many positive effects to what you're doing now when you do it in a natural state. I feel
Yeah,
that.
it's
I
so
hear you.
good. I'm worried what we're going to do for the next 12 weeks, actually, Jamie.
You'll have to figure it out. Maybe you'll create some other way of doing it, right? You'll get innovative. I'm
I know,
sure
don't
you're
worry, my
gonna.
brain's already thinking overtime. What shall we do?
Yeah.
Could we do money and mocktails instead, and we'll go somewhere warm
I
and
love
learn how to make
it.
money for 12 weeks instead.
Absolutely. Genius.
Oh, so hilarious. All right. Well, we've only got a few minutes left, Jamie. So thank you. Oh my gosh, this has been incredible. It's such I love talking about it because I remember you were one of my inspirations for leaning into that sober curious part of me. And I just, because I always just thought, well, if Jamie can do it, like she is showing me what is possible. She is a coach. She has what I want. She is who I admire. So when we look around at all the people that we admire, what are their qualities? What are their traits? What are their characteristics? And one of them is well, she doesn't get crazy drunk and turn up to coaching feeling awful and all those things. She has an integrity with who she has become. And I remember thinking, I want to be that person too. I had you, there was Brooke Castillo, there was that group of people that were just so, so inspiring. So you are an inspiration to people.
Thank you. Oh
I
my
know you even
gosh.
make me
That
cry.
means
Look,
the
my little
world.
tears.
And look at who you've become in this time. It's been amazing to witness you and like all of your growth and how much you've opened up in this time and how much you've
Yeah,
learned and how much wisdom. I mean, amazing. Amazing.
yeah.
I am honored and thank you. Thank you.
I always had this goal to be, fit and healthy by 50. And I'm turning 50 next year. So I am ticking my goals off. There's no way I'm getting to 50. And I know it's not a destination, it's not an end. But I just, I want to have the best possible life and do all these fun things and travel and manifest all my dreams. So,
Yes.
yeah.
You're doing
So,
it.
so you're an inspiration for me. What would you encourage or tell a person who is sitting on the fence right now, really, wobbly around, oh, what do I do? I want to do it, but I don't want to do it. What would you say to that person, Jamie?
To that person, I would say go for it, right? Go for it. And sometimes you hear these things. If you're listening to this right now, like, this isn't a mistake. That's the thing. There's these people that show up in our lives, teachers, podcasts, books that show up in our life for a reason. It's not just little you that called this in. There's like a higher version of you who's guiding you, who's ready for this. So my suggestion would be go for it. Give it a try, right? Go for it for even like what I always say, try it for a short amount of time, even. Like you don't have to tell your brain, we're giving this up forever. You can tell your brain, hey, let's do 2 months of this. Let's see how we feel. Then let's reevaluate after the end of 2 months, right? Start there. That's the first thing I would say. I would also say if it's something you've tried in the past on your own or unsuccessfully, receive support. Like there is no shame in receiving support. There's so many things in my life that I struggled with for a long time or I was curious about letting go of or stepping into a new identity. And I will say certain things I needed the additional support, whether that was coaching, therapy, whatever it was, to dive in and really invest in myself and invest in this transformation. Because having someone who's been through it hold your hand can make all the difference, especially when it's consistently. So I say book a session with Lori because I know her genius. And so say absolutely get in touch with Lori. She's truly like one of the most brilliant coaches I know, for sure. Just you
Thank
have
you.
such an extensive background. You've done the work yourself. I've witnessed you do it. And on top of it, you've added so many additional credentials to your toolbox, and you're so committed to being the best. And so I just believe anyone who works with you is, I mean, their life will change forever.
I think
Yeah.
just quitting the alcohol part, it will just open up so much more for people. And I agree, support is huge. If I didn't have all my coaching people around me,
Yeah.
poking holes in my belief systems and showing me what was possible and introducing new modalities of, oh, I could try this as a way to move emotion. Oh, I could try this to, get in touch with my inner child. Oh, I could try this to, to feel frequency. I think that's been the most important part of my journey is once I said, yep, I'm all in. It's funny how all these healing modalities just kind of like planted themselves in front of me. I was like, oh, I've got all these modalities. Which one do I do? I was like, well, you know what? We'll just start with this one. And then I
Yep.
added that one. And then I
Yep.
added that one. And it has honestly been incredible to experience all these life-changing modalities because it isn't just one thing that will shift. It might be for some people, but if you've had such a big relationship with alcohol for a long time, it might just take more than just one thought. It might just take more than, having a feeling and changing the action.
Yes.
There's a lot more going on. So I agree 100%. Support. If you don't have the people around you that show you what's possible, they're going to be the ones that will be like, hey, come for a drink. Like, come on, just one more. So
Yep.
you've got to
Yep.
get your posse.
Yes. 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 Yes to that.
Oh my gosh. Well, this has been absolutely incredible, and I could just talk for hours and hours and hours about alcohol free and manifestation and all the things. So I love you and I appreciate you so much, Jamie. Thank you for
Love
being
you.
here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.